Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker and today we're going to be taking a look at the first big piece of information that we're receiving in regards to organised play for Lorcana in 2025 and beyond. This information was brought to us, the big break came from The Gamer, of which website I will be reading through today. I've not done any further research. Literally, I was actually doing a top 8 Decklists video, getting that sorted, but I saw the tweet went out, The Gamer, saying that they had the information. I've had one read through and then I've just set up to start recording. So this is literally just going to be me talking through all the information. So if you've already read it, then I'm not going to be telling you anything that you don't already know, but I know some people prefer to get their information via this means. Some of you may have read it but would still like to hear certain content creators going through it themselves, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So let's take a look. Lorcana reveals organised play plans 2025 World Championship. So confirmed our first World Championship will be next year. Competitive Lorcana is on its way with a series of events starting this April. Disney Lorcana is finally kickstarting its competitive scene with the launch of North American and European circuits this May. The Disney Lorcana Challenge will include events ranging from local tournaments to regional championships, culminating in an invite-only World Championship in 2025. I did see a couple of I've seen some people express an idea that perhaps the first World Championships would just be open, which it reminds me, I wasn't at it, but I believe it was the first ever UK Yu-Gi-Oh! National Championships, was free for all. Anyone could just turn up and play it. It was actually absolutely mad. But no, confirmed here, you do need an invite to go to be able to play the World Championships, but you can still go, but we'll get to that. The challenge begins with regional level challenge events. Those who win at this level will qualify for the North American Championship or the European Championship, planned for the 2024 holiday season. These are regional finals, and the top performers from this will be playing for invitations to the 2025 World Championships, which will be happening as part of a wider open event. So this is what I was just referring to. Obviously, they've got plans for Worlds. It's going to be a big event. It's not just going to be, no, you can only come in the building if you are playing the World Championships or working for Ravensburger in some capacity. No, it seems like it's going to be a big event. Perhaps attached to it is the first regional of the new league, the new season. Perhaps that's something. Maybe they've got something completely brand new in the works. A Lorcana mass expo of some description with guest speakers and unveiling some news, big news to come, all that sort of stuff. So the idea that it's going to be a big event in and of itself and people can go even if they didn't qualify for World Championships and get involved is a big tick from me. Ravensburger has also confirmed that there will be additional chances to qualify for the championships, to be announced at a later date. Things like prize support, exactly how qualifying for events will work, and how to register to take part will be available on the Lorcana site from this March. So we don't have all of our information in these articles. We've got a good amount of it and definitely enough that I thought was worth reporting on, but it's still information to come, but it looks like we won't have too much longer to wait. Alongside the competitive circuit, Lorcana will also be running the new set championships, starting in April in qualifying local game stores. These aren't connected to the regional and world championships, but do offer exclusive promo cards and play mats for those who do well. For the first set championship, the top 2 players will both receive copies of an exclusive enchanted rare Stitch Rockstar, as well as a matching play mat. So obviously I'm just going to be showing my screen, so you'll have already seen these images if you hadn't seen them before watching my video, which I expect you have because they're already everywhere. This Rockstar Stitch that we're getting enchanted, absolutely stunning, beautiful. I'm not going to say I was alone in this, but I did call quite early. I imagine they will in some form go back to old sets and do enchanted versions of some of like the big MVP cards from those sets. And this is our I suppose second example, because the D100 gave us enchanted versions of a couple of cards that didn't come as enchanted in the first chapter, but here's another example of it happening, so I imagine there will be more, and yeah, this is just beautiful. This alone will be enough reason for people to want to play, and again, you can only imagine that the playmat is going to be just as stunning. I'm so excited for Lorcana, man. The future is bright. We don't even have all the information, and I'm still so excited. Alongside, have I already read that? I've absolutely already read that. Since the launch of the first chapter in August, Lorcana has primarily been focused on cultivating local scenes with more casual events. These often prioritise sporting conduct and introducing new people to the game over introducing new people to the game over necessarily winning, although stores do still run their own competitive events as well. The big question is what the meta environment will look like once the Lorcana Challenge rolls around. IT's due to begin in May, meaning it could be tied to the launch of the new 4th set. Considering we've not seen most of the Into the Inklands yet, and it's introducing new mechanics like locations, it's hard to predict whether it will just be another Ruby Amethyst blowout, as we've seen in grassroots tournaments, or if entirely new decks will arise in the months both before the challenge's launch and in the run-up to the World Championship. Early core, there's going to be so much change before then. Even if Ruby Amethyst is still the best deck by then, I imagine it will look very, very different. But no, I think it's going to be more diverse. This announcement also confirms that we'll be seeing larger scale events for Lorcana in the coming months and years. Ravensburger suggested the World Championships would take place during another open event. Whether this is something like DreamHack or Gen Con or a Lorcana-focused event like Magic the Gathering Magic Cons hasn't been announced yet, but either answer points to exciting times for the game. We've organised Play, a new gateway introductory product for people to learn how to play, and the release dates for the 3 other sets due for this year after Into the Inklands. Ravensburger has laid most of its cards on the table for 2024, so we are going to take a look at these other 2 articles as well. So yeah, confirmation, First Worlds won't be next year. Won't be until next year, 2025. We're getting some special events, specifically organised by Ravensburger for specific local game stores, where you will be able to achieve very unique prizing, which I assume is going to be exclusive and like to these events, and will probably be hard to come by. I hope so, just from a standpoint. I mean, a lot of people will say, yeah, I hope so, it adds value, and yeah, that's a good thing. But I think of it more from the standpoint of like it's just a prize that people will travel far for, and like that it'll make these events really mean something, even though they don't contribute towards the regional or world championships. But yeah, we're expecting the actual North American championships and the European championships to be end of this year, 2024 holiday season. So lots going on. We've got to wait until the launch of the circuits for the North American and European championships will begin in May, with those actual events taking place in the holiday season, and then Worlds next year. So lots going on. We've got to wait until March until next month for more information about how to qualify and whether like how it's going to go down. Basically, is it going to be a certain amount of points? Is it going to be you need to place within top X of certain events? We still need a bit more information concerning that, but this is a really great start. Let's take a look at the other articles that are linked in with it. We'll start off with the one talking about the release dates for future sets. So Ravensburger has revealed when we'll be seeing the next 3 Disney Lorcana sets, setting out the plans for the rest of 2024 and through to the game's 6th release. Though it didn't reveal names or information about the sets, it follows plans we already knew about to release 4 sets for the game each year. The first release is the only one we know about, with Into the Inklands launching on February 23rd or March 8th for big box retail stores. This set introduces a new card type in locations and will be the first time we see characters from Disney TV shows, thanks to the inclusion of Tailspin's Kit Kit Cloud Kicker, and the DuckTales Scrooge McDuck. After that, our next sets are roughly 3 months apart each, giving the meta plenty of time to adapt to each one. So yeah, we did know this, and we knew they were going to be every 3 months, but we got some actual dates here. So as we know, February 23rd for Into the Inklands, and then Big Box on March 8th. Set 4 will be on 17th of May, with Big Box on the 31st of May. Set 5 will be August 9th, with Big Box releases on August 23rd. Set 6 will be November 15th, with Big Box release on November 29th. So that is the roadmap for new sets for the rest of the year. We can assume each of these will come with similar product lineups to the first chapter, Rise of the Floodborn, and Into the Inklands. It was recently revealed that troves are being reworked for the Into the Inklands, including more accessories like damage dice, lore tracker, and card dividers. So we'll almost certainly be seeing them and gift sets pop up with these other sets too. Yeah, I haven't talked about this on the channel, but not much to say other than yeah, it's a really good thing. I really like that we're getting card dividers. Like, yeah, obviously people can make them themselves, but I will be glad to not have to and just have them and better organize my cards. The inclusion of dice is an absolute dub. The lore tracker doesn't do anything for me, but I know plenty of people love a lore tracker, so as far as I'm concerned, that's another big dub. So very excited for the future of troves. Interestingly, this also confirms the release date for the first set worked on after the first chapter's launch in August 2023. The November 2024 set will be the game's 6th release, while shortly before launch, co-designer Steve Warner confirmed he was still working on the 5th, launching in August at the time. So basically, when first chapter was first released, they were still working on the 5th release, the release set that we're going to be getting August 9th. So that means that set 6 will be the first set that was developed, with the game having come out into the hands of players, and they will have started to see feedback. They'll have started to see how the meta was shaping. Basically, they'll have had more information and feedback from the players and themselves just watching how cards were working together and see how much of that was in their radar. Because I dare say an awful lot of it was. I dare say that they had a pretty good idea on what was going to be strong all the way along. We've had direct confirmation from Steve Warner that they fully expected Control to be a major archetype, as it should be. But yeah, this will be an interesting set because it's the first one that they'll have designed having knowledge of players' feedback, all those things I've just mentioned. So that's definitely a very interesting piece of data. Though most TCGs design their sets years in advance, the 6th set could be a big deal for Lorcana. It will have been designed with knowledge of how the launch went and potentially even game-dominating decks like Ruby Amethyst Control. We shouldn't expect a dramatic correction to the meta straight away, but seeing how things develop after this point will be fascinating. I agree. There are still a lot of characters we've yet to see in Lorcana that could make their debut in one of those sets. There are still plenty of Disney Animation Studios movies to show up, like Encanto, Wish, Dinosaur, and Big Hero 6. Notably, we also haven't seen Pixar so far, which usually goes hand in hand with Disney. Maybe Woody, Maylin, Arlo, or Sully will hit Lorcana by the end of the year. I don't know a couple of these characters. I know Woody, obviously, and Sully, so apologies if I murdered those names. These aren't the only Lorcana releases scheduled for 2024. On top of these, Ravensburger has also just announced a new beginners-focused product called Gateway that eases you into learning how to play with 2 evolving decks that you add cards to as you progress through the tutorials. This is scheduled to launch on August 9th alongside the 5th set. This is really interesting, and like as someone that wants more and more people to flock to this game and for it to become easier to get into, I'm a huge fan of that. So let's jump to that part of the article. If you've been put off getting into Disney Lorcana due to its complexity, Ravensburger is releasing the product for you this August. Gateway is a new beginner-focused way to gradually learn the game. Each one will come with 2 decks and a number of prize cards, allowing you to progress through tutorials for the game until your decks become fully viable precons for regular play. First time I read this, I was like, oh my god, are they making a version of with different rules for beginners and it's just going to be Pokemon? You got to get 6 prize cards. But no, as we go on, it does define more what it's talking about. Launching alongside the 5th set this August, Ravensburger explains that Gateway will include everything 2 players need to play right out of the box, including 2 30-card decks, a game board to explain the various zones cards can sit in, and even character standees to help visualize how questing and challenging works. The really interesting bit, though, is that it will come with additional cards that are given as rewards for completing stages of learning how to play the game. As you progress through it, these cards will be added to introduce new mechanics and concepts, making the decks more complex until by the end, it's become a legal, regular deck that you can take to your shop and play with. Though Lorcana is markedly simpler than compelling TCGs like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh!, there are still several things that a new player can be tripped up on. Questing, challenging, using songs, playing grab your swords when there's a beast defender on the board, and even into the Inkland's new location, all new teaching. Into the England's new locations, all need teaching. Words are hard. And a step-by-step playable guide seems like a great way to do it. So this is really interesting. So it immediately makes me think of Pokemon release. Well, they did. I assume they still do. Decks that are net decks of the 2 players in the World Championships that year, and they're card for card builds like the ultimate meta decks. Whatever came first and second in that year's World Championship, they release it as release it en masse. But these cards aren't tournament legal. Great for playing casually, learning the game, all that stuff, but they are not tournament legal. So the fact that they include all these really rare cards and really high-powered cards that like people would really go out their way to need in certain metagames. You can now get copies very easily, but not tournament legal ones. So my first question is that how this is going to be here? Because it does say it becomes a legal regular deck you can take to your shop and play with. Now this of course does lead me to think, oh okay, well then I assume that it's fine then. It says here it's become a legal regular deck you can take to your shop and play with. But there's just that small part of me, and you tell me if I'm being like really pessimistic, or don't know if that's even the right word, or just I'm seeing sus where sus don't be. But I do wonder if this means this is perfectly legal to take to your shop and play casually with friends, but I wonder if there's some small print that says will not be applicable for tournament play. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, and maybe I'm really reaching for a negative where there isn't one, but I would be remiss to not at least mention it, because this does give me hope the way it's worded. It says a legal regular deck you can take to your shop and play with. I just wish it didn't say take to shop and play with. I wish it said legal regular deck that you can bring to organised events. So you tell me, am I seeing stuff where stuff ain't? But I thought it was worth mentioning. But nonetheless, even if they aren't tournament legal, this is still great just for getting like. I think if you're learning the game, there's certainly a lot to be said for learning at a much simpler level and working your way up. But it's still nice to know that you can get your hands on these slightly more powerful, perhaps more meta cards, and learn the game. Have your starting point of learning the game already be more to an intermediate level, if where applicable. But I really like this idea that it's got these 2 30 card decks. And then each one has a number of prize cards. And I imagine these prize cards start off with something like, maybe it's ultra simple and it starts off with songs. And the original 30 card decks don't have any songs in them. It's literally just characters. Maybe it's just characters. Maybe your 30 card deck is just characters and it's just to learn about inking, putting down a character, questing, using a character, exerting to use a character's ability, things like that. Okay, you've did you complete? And it says in the rule book which cards should be in your starting 30 deck. Once you have both players have won a game and understand the mechanics of these decks, try adding the following cards to the deck, and it lists the songs, and now you learn that, and then it lists the next items, and then it goes to locations and so on and so forth. That's where I immediately see it going. Let's go on with the article. One thing we don't know is whether Gateway will include exclusive cards not seen in the sets, or whether it will just include reprints. If it's the latter, this could be a great way to get some of the more highly sought over cards out in the wild, even if the potential of brand new cards is also exciting. If other TCGs are anything to go by, this will likely be a reprint focused product, but have a few cards worth grabbing from it nestled in there somewhere. So this gives me more hope that everything, my concern from before, is not the way. This is all worded very much like, no, this is also a good way to get those slightly rarer cards from a previous set that you didn't manage to get. Maybe there's a Maleficent Dragon in there. Maybe there's a Rapunzel in there. Maybe by the time they get to doing the one to Rise the Floodborn, maybe that's how you get your tragic hero beasts. I know there's going to be some Market Watch videos that go crazy at this information. I'm not a Market Watch guy, so I'll sit back, drink my coffee, and watch the world burn. But yeah, I digress. For those that have maybe been put off getting into the game from a price point standard, maybe this helps. It probably doesn't get you everything that you could possibly want from every set, but even if it's a couple of like the real key pieces, Rapunzel, Beast Tragic Hero, things like that, are the cards that are worth either just buying singles, buy singles by the way, but sometimes you'll buy a box where you're only really looking for one thing, but it would also be nice to get some extra stuff to trade or pull in Enchanted or whatever. But this may make people not need to do that anymore unless you really like opening packs, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've not seen any images of the Gateway boxes yet, so we don't know exactly what form it'll take. So yeah, something to look out for. The inclusion of standees is an absolute genius move as well. Certain other... The emphasis on that was all wrong. The inclusion of standees is an absolute genius move as well. Certain other games include standees as accessories, like the gift boxes for the Digimon card game, but putting them in a starter product is a great way to help people unfamiliar with TCGs see how a turn is going. Play a flounder, put a flounder standee down, and you've immediately communicated something to a new player that can seem like a complete non-issue for those already invested in the game. 100% this was Flower because of Citizens of Lorcana, shout out to them. You have influenced a groundbreaking article with information we very much need. Disney Lorcana TCG Gateway will cost $24.99 when it launches on August 9th, alongside the game's 5th set. At the same time as the Gateway announcement, Lorcana confirmed the release dates for all its currently announced 2024 releases, which we've already looked at, including the upcoming blah blah blah. We've looked at that. So that is everything, or at least everything that I found initially. This is like I said, I found it, did one read for everything, and started recording. So maybe there's more by now. I certainly hope not, but I'm gonna push on and just get out this much because I do think that this is a good chunk of information to have, some things to think about. Again, I really hope I'm wrong with my suspicion that these reprint decks, these gateway boxes, I hope I'm wrong and they are completely legal to use for everything, and it will be certainly interesting if that is the case to see which cards they give us easy access to and which ones are about to very much come down in price. But yeah, that is pretty much everything from me for now. What are your thoughts on the information about organized play? We've still got some more. I know a lot of people will feel, no, I need some specific dates, I need to know what's happening for things, but that's a good chunk of information that we've got. We'll have more information next month. So yeah, has this excited you? What do you think about the the addition of the special events for the exclusive Enchanted Rockstar Stitch, and who would you like to see as a future target of that reprint in an enchanted form as a big prize? Are you excited for these brand new sets, the gateway sets? Let me know down in the comments. But that's it from me for now. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana, hit the like button to show your support, and we'll see you soon.